Hello everyone, we are here in the beautiful capital city of Nassau in the Bahamas. The weather is gorgeous, the people here are friendly, the beach is clean, the water crystal clear. Nassau is definitely a piece of paradise. This was the first stop on our 7-night Western Caribbean cruise on Royal Caribbean's Allure of the Seas. We started out from Miami and then the next day docked in Nassau. After Nassau, we visited Cozumel, Mexico, then Roatan, Honduras, then Costa Maya, Mexico, and then back to Miami. So back to our first stop in Nassau in the Bahamas. What's to do here? First of all, the weather is beautiful, so when you are traveling in January, as we did, and leaving behind the cold and the snow from North America, Nassau really is paradise. It's sunny, warm, and it's just a very comforting place to visit. We went to Royal Caribbean's Shore Excursions page to pick something to do. We're not beach people. We were looking for an excursion that would cover the main sites to see Nassau, and we found this 3.5-hour tour of Nassau for $45 per person. This was a morning tour with a meeting time of 9:30 a.m. right outside the ship. It was very convenient to have the ship dock right there. You get off and the tour leaves from right in front of the ship. We had to sit around for a while, I'm not sure why, and then we were split up into groups. They gave us a bracelet for the wrist after checking our tickets, and then we started walking, following the crowd of people. I wasn't quite sure how there could be so many people on this tour, but later we were broken down into smaller groups. We walked a bit more. Here you can see the ferry to Blue Lagoon Island. It was really a gorgeous day, and somehow our group started walking a bit slower. I could see up ahead we were going to pass through some sort of a gate, and some buses or vans were lined up beyond that. Here we came across someone selling bottled water for $1 a bottle.
$1 water, guys. Got your water.
And yes, he took our US bills. And then we were through the gate and guided to a mini bus. There were quite a few of these buses lined up, and so our very large tour split up between the buses, and then we were off on our tour with our tour guide explaining all we needed to know about the Bahamas. Our first stop was a place called the Rum Cake Factory. It was moderately interesting. All they seemed to have, it seemed, was cake and rum. Really. When you're on vacation, almost anything is interesting, so we enjoyed ourselves taking in the sights. It looked like this was a popular stop for the tour guides. We were there around 20-30 minutes and then loaded back up on the bus for the next stop. I wonder if they give a kickback to the tour guides for bringing us here. Our next stop was Atlantis on Paradise Island, more specifically the Royale Towers, which contains the Bridge Suite, ranked in 2002 by Forbes as the most expensive hotel room in the world. It cost $25,000 per night with a 4-night minimum stay. One of their famous guests was Michael Jackson. The view is beautiful. It looks so nice and peaceful. We are at the Royale Towers now. This was the first hotel built on the 171-acre property of Atlantis. Yes, the theme of the resort is the lost city of Atlantis. Here we are in front of the towers. This is a beautiful fountain with leaping winged horses, reminiscent of Pegasus from Greek mythology. Very nice photo opportunities here. Then we were loaded back up on the van and taken right next door to the Coral Towers, still on the Atlantis Resort property. Here we were allowed to enter and explore a bit. We found an outdoor area with turtles, but we couldn't enter. It was for guests only. We walked around the Crystal Court and did a little window shopping. We also took a peek at the casino, but I was not allowed to film in there. The hotel reminded me a bit like our ship, with all the shops and the casino and all the beautiful things to look at. We were given around 45 minutes to wander about, and then we were back on the van ready for our next destination. On the way, the tour guide explained about the sights. Here we are passing the Princess Margaret Hospital. Children under the age of 12 and adults over 65 are treated for free here. Here we are passing the first prison in Nassau. Here we are at the next destination. This is a major landmark called the Queen's Staircase, named in honor of Queen Victoria, who reigned in Britain from 1837 to 1901. The van parked in front of some vendors, and we had to walk a bit to the actual staircase. Not everyone on our tour wanted to do the steps, so the tour guide told us to go on our own and come back to the van in 30 minutes. So we walked about 2 or 3 minutes until we came to a sign pointing us to the staircase. It is quite steep, and I was a little hesitant to go down since I wasn't sure I would be able to climb back up and make it to the van in time. The view can be a little intimidating, especially if you don't like heights. And down we go. It really wasn't bad at all, and in no time we were down at the bottom looking up. You can see people taking advantage of the great photo opportunities here. There is no shortage of photo opportunities in Nassau. We walked a bit more just to see what was down the path. It was really very pleasant and even a little cool down in the canyon. At the end of the path, we came to a parking lot, and we realized we could walk around the parking lot back up to the van rather than climb up the 66 steps. There were still some steps we had to climb, and so it was a little bit of a hike back up to the van, but we had a nice view of the ship there in the background. When we finally got back up to where our van was parked, we were thirsty, and lo and behold, a vendor selling coconut water straight from the coconut. So we refreshed ourselves with ice-cold coconut water. There is not a lot of water in a coconut, but it was delicious and refreshing. Then we were back on the van and on to our next destination, the Rum Distillery. We drove for around 10 or 15 minutes. The tour guide continued to talk the entire way, explaining more about the buildings we were passing and the history and culture of the Bahamas. And then we were there. This is the John Watling Distillery. We were invited into the house, which has some historical information on the walls, and then out the back door where there was a tour of the facility.
There's a good supply of rum right here on top in the barrels. You can give these a shake when you're ready, and I'll talk about each brand of rum represented inside the barrels in that 2 to 5 year window. So shake it up a bunch, get a good smell of it. Starts off pretty strong though, 40% of alcohol, starting off with a 2-year-old pale rum. Our distillates are aged in the American white oak barrels, so a sugarcane molasses base for fermentation. Our distillation is completed in 2 and 3 stages, and then aging set for 2 to 5 years. They're all American white oak. These are once-used bourbon barrels, and they're coming in from the Jack Daniels in Lynchburg, Tennessee. That's our most efficient avenue at the moment, and the natural oils we're after, really. It's released when they char or burn the barrels about 1/8 of an inch in the inside. So our 2-year-old pale rum will have that sweet citrus variety coming in and matches great with the tropical.
After the tour, we went back into the house, a different room filled with souvenirs to take home or drink or both. There was an outside area to sit and take in the relaxing and beautiful views. Here you can see another tour group entering. This is a popular destination for the tour companies. And then we were taken to an eatery. I had expected the tour would be over and we were going back to the ship for lunch. It was already 1 o'clock and we were tired and ready to head back. But we were taken to this restaurant for lunch. It looked like a good friend of the tour guide, and it was not listed on the itinerary for this tour. We told the tour guide that we eat a special diet and we could not eat at the restaurant, and asked him how we could get back to the ship. He offered to take us there while everyone else stayed at the restaurant, and we took him up on the offer. Along the way we stopped off someplace where he showed us how clean and clear the water is. Then we drove past Junkanoo Beach, and the tour guide explained about the festivities and happenings on the beach. We had a nice ride back, just us and the tour guide. He talked the whole way, and we gave him a nice tip for that. He led us off in front of a gated area where we showed our passports to get back inside the tourist area. And there is our ship. It is a massive ship, and we were headed back for our lunch and a little rest before our next activities. There's a show every night on the ship and lots of entertainment, but we were pretty tired from the morning activities in Nassau. I hope you enjoyed this overview tour of Nassau in the Bahamas. If you have any comments or suggestions or experiences you'd like to share, please leave them in the section below this video. And thank you for watching. Bye!